Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and today we're joined by Derek Bidner to discuss our general thoughts on the latest trailer for Super Mario 3D World, as well as my recent hands-on time with the game. So let's get started. Alright Derek, so we've learned a lot more about Mario 3D World, thanks to the Nintendo Direct recently that showed off a brand new trailer. And then a few days ago, I even got to go and play the game, a brand new demo that showcased a few of the levels from the trailer. And I thought we'd just, sit down and have a little chat about all the Mario 3D World stuff. So first, before we dive into my hands-on impressions, I wanted to talk about our, initial impressions of everything new we've seen so far. First off, what were your thoughts on Mario 3D World at E3, from, what you saw and what you played? Well,
the gut reaction I got as soon as we saw the trailer at for the Direct back in E3 was, really? This? Because, we were coming straight off 3D Land and is like, it's more of this.
Right.
But then you actually got to play it and it's like, okay, I see where they're going with here.
Right.
I wasn't exactly sold on it at first, but I saw enough so I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. I'm having fun. So when I see this brand new trailer, I'm like, yep, I want to play. The footage they showed, all the different things that you can do, there's a lot of variety they're showing off here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the music was also fantastic, and I think that just got you pumped up for this Mario.
Everything you just said is exactly how I felt. Initial disappointment at the reveal, but I had fun with the A3, and I'm like, okay, I can see where they're going with this, as you said. And now this new trailer just really like hit it out of the ballpark, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
It made me wonder, like, why didn't they show this at E3?
Yeah.
Because this makes the game look so much better than it did before.
It feels like it has personality. And I didn't quite get that from the E3 trailer.
No, I mean, the E3 trailer, kind of had, like, if you could picture, like, a generic 3D Mario game, that's what it was. Like, It looked, pretty generic. It looked like an improved port of, 3D Land, basically,
Yeah, and the big thing that I think they were trying to show off there was the 4-player, and the fact that you could play as Peach, Toad, Luigi all at the same time.
Right.
So I can sort of see where they were going with here, but this one excites me more because I think we've all realized that Mario works best when there's a lot of personality behind it.
Yep.
I mean, look at Dark Moon. There's a lot of personality behind that. I love that game.
That's
look
true.
at Mario and Luigi. I love those games. Personality. And I think that we're finally getting that with the normal 3D Marios.
That is a good point. So much of Mario. It's kind of funny because a lot of people say Mario's a boring character. He doesn't have much personality. Mm-hmm. But Mario, it's partially me growing up with him, but there's nothing super deep there. He's just like a super generic, not generic, super happy-go-lucky, Mickey-like, mascot basically. But I love him for that. It's a little touches in there that really help bring that to life. I feel like, real quick, this is a quick aside. But like in Mario 64, when you beat the game. So spoilers if you haven't beaten the game. There's a moment when after Peach walks away in the very ending, and then Mario's walking to catch up to her. Then he just like looks up to you at the camera, like there's that little glance. It's like, aww.
Or his celebration in Mario 64 when you do the victory sign.
Yeah, exactly.
He's ecstatic when he beat all this.
So yeah, seeing this new trailer, it does look like there's gonna be a lot of personality there. And just in how the whole game's even put together, I like the sequence, when you see Cat Mario pouncing around, sneaking up on the bird enemies or the rabbits.
Yeah, exactly. It's adorable.
It really is, yeah. And then you mentioned the music as well, and the music in the trailer is fantastic, and I wonder if that's, I'm guessing that's probably from the game itself.
I hope so, because it says a new style. It isn't just a bunch of remixes or a few new tracks and mixed in with a few remixes from all the past games.
Right.
I like these new tracks. Mario has some fantastic music, and as much as I love the old ones, always great to hear some new stuff too.
Oh yeah, no, without question, as long as they can match, the caliber the Mario games have set.
Exactly,
yeah.
And I think this new track fits it.
No,
it really does.
It's very different from what we've heard from Mario before. I mean, I guess in the same, similar to how like Mario Galaxy was very different from what we had heard before, and that I love the soundtrack to that game.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
This does bode well for 3D World, especially. And something I wanted to mention too is that Kevin over at Good Nintendo was pointing out that he'd watched the trailer like a ton of times. He probably watched it in its entirety more than I did, because whereas I'm going through like frame by frame basically. So
it's hard to rewatch when you're constantly doing frame by frame.
Exactly right. But he mentioned that the trailer is incredibly synced to the music as well. Like the scenes change, based on the timing and the music. It was just a very well put together trailer. So
absolutely.
It looks trailer looks great, and we'll get into some of the more specifics from it later on. But yeah, so as you know, on Friday I got to go into Nintendo to play it. Somehow crammed that into my schedule, around the whole Disneyland trip that was going on that I was supposed to drive down to. I had to end up flying down to instead. But somehow fit 3D World in there. So I got to play four levels, all of which were shown in the trailer. But I got to play through them in their entirety.
Yeah, because none of these levels were featured in the E3 demo, right?
That is correct. Yeah, these were all brand new levels. And yeah, so I guess I'll just start off with like surface level impressions. Like the gameplay is awesome. Like
it looks like it plays awesome. I mean, I was watching your footage, all that, and it's like, man, I want to play this.
Right? As I mentioned before, it was fun at E3, but the more I play this game, just the better it gets. And now that I was able to play a few more levels that were really, less generic looking levels, ones that really give you, more unique takes on, than what we saw before. It works super well. Like, I think the level I started off with, I don't even remember what order I played them in, but one of the levels that really stands out to me was Double Cherry Pass, which, has a heavy emphasis, as the name implies, on the new Double Cherry power-up, which basically gives you a clone. See, for each Double Cherry you get, you grow like an extra Mario, or whichever character you're playing as. So there was a point where I had like 5 or 6 Marios.
Yeah, I think your max was 5.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly. But they said it's only limited by how many cherries you can get. So if you're playing a single player game, I think it's entirely possible to have like 10 Marios running around, which is insane.
Yeah, you're totally, that is insane. And I asked them that at the thing, and they're like, however many cherries there are is how many you can get.
And I think the thing I like most about this power-up is that you can combine it with other power-ups. So imagine, Double Cherry Mario with, you got to see it with Fire Flowers. Imagine Tanuki, or the little thing with the cannonball on his head.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. I was able to try the fireballs. You have like fireballs bouncing all over the place. I can just imagine like this army of Tanukis like just raining in from the skies, like just dropping in. Yeah, and what also was surprising is I was a little bit concerned from the footage, because having there've been elements in games before where you had where you control 2 characters at once, for instance. But one of the things is like, how well will this control? Like, are you going to be able to handle having this many Marios running around? And actually, I should mention, by the way, I was actually playing as Luigi. Which instead of Mario.
You were playing as Luigi the entire time.
Yeah, which is funny because I made that same mistake in the analysis where I called Luigi Mario at some point. It just controls really well. It works how you would imagine it would. It just works better than you would think it would, because they all follow your exact inputs. But it's all, they're all responsive, and it's surprisingly easy to keep track of them.
Because that's the thing I'd be more concerned about. I knew the control would be fine, but I'd be worried about losing track of them, so I don't lose. Like, I want to try to get as many of these guys as I can, but I don't want to lose track of them and cause them to get hit and anything like that. But it seemed like it kept a good focus. I don't know how well that'll work out once you get 4 players each with 3 clones each, but for single player it seems to work out fine.
Yeah, I should say this looked like probably one of the first levels that has the Double Cherry item, maybe the first even.
Probably.
So it probably is simpler in design than later levels in the game. But yeah, with the design of the level, it worked super well. And as we saw in the footage, even you can one of the things is that you can separate the clones. By going over hills, for instance. So one will be in a lower level, one will be in a higher level, or going up against a wall. Like, if one of the clones gets caught up on something, that'll separate them from you.
Yeah.
And that's something that is incorporated into the actual gameplay. Like, there's a point where there are 2 switches to press, or 2 that you need to press in order to get a green star. And if you're playing multiplayer, that's way easy. You can just have any of the players standing on them. But if you're playing single player, then you have to split up your clones so they both, get on that switch.
And I like that because they can keep they don't have to change anything too much. It just almost focuses more on the skill of the player when you do single player. And I like that they're adding that sort of thing in.
Yeah, it's a very different mechanic that we've seen, and it seems to, and it looks like it's going to work, really well. And it's a unique power up that we haven't seen before for a Mario game, and that's awesome because the more. I mean, you've got to think they've got to be exhausting, like, a lot of the potential ideas for power-ups.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to see them bring back, even if this might not be the same cherry, but bring back the cherry and give it a new use. It's update.
Exactly. So, but even outside the power-ups, although I guess this kind of ties into it too, but another level I played that was really cool was Shadow Play Alley. And in that game, you don't have a power-up per se, but you do have, like, a piranha plant, a planted piranha plant, actually, that you hold. And it's kind of like Yoshi, actually, from Mario Galaxy 2, where it will just eat a whole bunch of enemies. But this one does it automatically, so you just, run up to an enemy, and he'll start, like, just gobbling up, everything.
He goes to town.
And he'll even attack, like, your teammates if you get too close. Like, he'll just like, knock them out. He won't kill them, or he won't eat them or anything, but...
Oh, but no, but you made sure you killed him in the...
Did you... I think, can you hear me in it, too, in the video, where...
Oh, yeah, totally. As soon as he told you that, I could just see the gears turning, and, like, this is why it's a bad idea to play New Super Mario Brothers with you, because you're a troll.
Oh, I'm a complete troll. Like, I'm probably why the game's not online, because I will just, like, destroy people... for no good reason.
But yeah, no, that was one of the funnier moments in that game.
Yeah,
I can kill him? Okay.
Well, it's especially funny because he's like, oh yeah, well it won't kill you, but we'll knock him out. But I basically killed him because I knocked him into a pit that did kill him. And then what else that level does that's cool is it plays the lighting effects, because it plays it takes place underground, so the entire thing seems to be front lit, like there's cameras basically, or lights basically behind the camera. And so it projects shadows onto the wall in the background, and that comes into play specifically later on when, like, you go through a door and you're playing in a shadow only area. So it's basically like a silhouette almost, but you just it's a shadow. So it's kind of like the Donkey Kong levels.
Except I think it plays with the silhouettes a lot more than Donkey Kong did. Before, Donkey Kong was just a stylistic choice, mostly. This one actually plays into the puzzles. The best one that comes to my mind is when you were trying to get to the stamp. Mm-hmm. And I know you're under a time crunch, but it was still trickier than normal to try to figure out, okay, how do I get to that stamp?
Oh, well, I don't think we even got to it, so...
No, you didn't. It was, but, you didn't exactly have a lot of time to try to do that. You didn't want to spend, 5 minutes trying to figure that out, but it's still impressive that it required a bit more thought than typical.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is true. And then they had another effect later on. At the end of the level, there's like this little hidden nook you can go into, and you see like a toad, just crying basically, like he's really scared. And that's because there's like a giant shadow of Bowser behind him, like, and you see like the Bowser like looking like he's gonna eat him or destroy him basically. And then you start walking toward the camera and you see the toad, and then you keep walking and you see the cardboard cutout of Bowser.
Yeah, What you mean? So the cardboard cutouts were in 3D land, but none of Bowser, and none used quite like that. There was more to just trick the player. This one just plays with perspective, and once again, as we were saying before, adds personality.
You just probably an interesting point. I didn't even think about the fact that there were cutouts in 3D land as well.
Yeah, usually just Goombas though.
Right, yeah, usually just Goombas. Oh, the 1-ups too, I think. And yeah, that was just kind of playing with the whole 3D thing. Like it kind of gave you the impression there was an enemy in the background or something.
Yeah, it was sort of just messing with your head. This one is sort of just playing with it, having fun.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I think the level looks really cool. So I wonder if that was just a one-time thing, or they're gonna have more shadow levels like that.
I kind of hope they do, and they keep playing with it and expanding upon it, because there seems like there's a lot more you can do with that concept. Yeah, no, absolutely, I totally agree. Because the gears in my head start turning. I'm like, what about a haunted mansion level with playing with the shadows? Oh, yeah, ghost level, a ghost house. Yeah, the ghost house. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, with the shadows. That'd be cool. That would be awesome. Like that would work so well. Mm-hmm. I can also see some interesting things happening if you have like the clone power up too.
You just
Yeah.
there's just so much they can do with that idea. So I'm sure it'll come into play later on. Especially, I really do hope in a Ghost House level now. Like, I'll be really disappointed that there's not a Ghost House, especially because we do see a Ghost House in the new trailer.
Oh yeah,
just for a brief moment, but it looks like there are going to be various tricks and traps there, like with a flagpole that's not actually a flagpole and just turns into booze or whatever. So
yeah, messing with your head.
Yeah. No, another level I played was Mount Beanpole, which is level 1-3, so it's an early level in the game. And based on what we've seen, it's the earliest level in the game that we've seen, as far as I can tell. And yeah, so this one has like a heavy emphasis on the cat power-up, and you climb up, like there's these plants you can climb up that are shaped like the bell power-up. So the top has like the bell thing, and this one is probably like the more typical level I was expecting from this game. Like it was very similar to World 2-1, I think, from I think it was 2-1 from the E3 demo, the first one we played. But what's cool about this one is it gave us our first time I was able to play with the cat Goombas.
Yeah, which that's it's cool to see the enemies using some of these new power-ups as well. We saw it at New Super Mario Brothers U and 3D Land, where the Goombas are starting to get the powers.
yeah, something we hadn't really seen before in a game, and something I wanted to see more of, and I'm glad they're doing it with this game.
Yeah, I think you got them too quickly, but are they able to do anything else? Or are they just sort of cosmetically, cat shaped?
Well, what they are, they pounce now, basically. So they're able to. It's kind of weird because they're gliding through the air, kind of. But yeah, but that's what they're doing. So like they're basically pouncing, but it's also kind of like a glide at the same time.
Okay, I thought I just gears turning my head again. But what if they would be able to like chase you up walls?
That would be interesting. I didn't see anything like that. So
no, but you didn't really let them live long enough. So who knows?
That's true. I think kind of murdered them quickly.
So I doubt it's in there, but it'd still be cool little effect. But the cat power probably seems to be the most. Obviously, it's it's the most fleshed out as far as all the new powers we've seen. There's no surprise there because it's in the title. I mean, this is the one they're obviously the most proud of.
I think the cat power up may actually be like the most interactive power up we've seen in a Mario game I can think off the top of my head, because like it directly interacts with the environment, like allowing you to clamber up walls now, basically. And there's also in that footage from World 1-3. There's like these cat wheels that you have to be a cat in order to rotate as well.
Yeah, and I don't think we've seen many power-ups that give you this many moves.
Yeah, it basically changes your entire moveset.
Yeah, the only one I can think of that gives quite as many moves is the raccoon or tanuki suit.
Right.
And even that one didn't give that many. Cat suit, you can climb, you can crawl, you got to pounce, you can hover slightly. There's a lot of options with it. It's kind of cool. I like how they're almost making Mario power-ups like a Kirby power-up, where you have all this, like, when you get the power-up, you have a brand new moveset.
It kind of reminds me how Mario Galaxy did it a little bit, where, like, it was a very specific transformation. Like, like the Boo power-up in that game, or the Bee power-up. And how the levels were completely designed around those power-ups, because you could only get those power-ups in very specific levels. And you couldn't take them between levels. So this kind of feels similar, except that you can take power-ups between levels, like old school Mario games.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that. But you brought the cat power-up to another one. Now, do you think that works with every power-up?
I'm pretty sure it does, because you can even store the power-ups now, and they can.
That's true.
And you can now, release them with the minus button.
I think the only exception to that is our double cherry. Because it doesn't get stored, it just adds another one to you.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think there are.
I think that's the only limitation. So the ones that get put on Mario's head, probably you can't bring the piranha plant everywhere with you.
Right.
And the double cherry are ones that you can't get brought with you. But otherwise, it's like 3D Land, where you can bring the Boomerang Brothers power up.
Exactly.
And all those others.
Because you don't even need those power-ups to finish the levels. The cat. You can beat those cat suit levels without the cat suit. But you are probably going to miss, I'm guessing, out on the secrets, and those levels are really designed
the stars.
The stars, exactly. Alright, and then, so the last level I was able to play was Bowser's Castle. And it's cool. Like, especially, so, I mean, the level itself, like, leading up to Bowser, is kind of your, a somewhat typical, lava, like, it wasn't a lava level. There was like, it was a water, like the castle was surrounded by water. But like, it was a castle level. And in that case, we saw like soccer ball bombs you can kick at enemies. And they explode in impact. Oh, I guess I should mention too, in the background, and I pointed this out in the analysis, that there was like a sea creature in the background. It's not actually a sea creature, it's like a giant 8-bit Luigi, like in the water.
Yeah, but he has like sort of like a trail behind him, so I wasn't, like, I was confused at first as with you, but when you zoomed in finally, you got that one clear look, and realized it was Luigi, but still, that's a heck of an Easter egg to find.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Because it serves no purpose. I didn't notice it at all until you finally pointed it out.
Well, and I was actually looking for it when I was at Nintendo, because I was working on the analysis that morning, like trying to finish that thing up, and I saw the thing in the background. So when I was playing the level on Nintendo, I was looking for it, and I couldn't see it actually. Like, there's so much happening in the stage, and I guess it's based on time more so than it is like a part of the level you reach, because I was at that same part of the level that they were in the trailer, and I didn't see it. So yeah,
it's just one of those very tiny, like, I guess, Easter eggs.
Right. Yeah.
And usually they're quite obvious with their Easter eggs.
Yeah, it's true. So that might be an upcoming Cool Bits then.
Yeah.
Cool Bit spoilers. Now then, the level itself ends with Bowser, of course. And this is a World 1 castle, which means you're taking on Bowser for the first boss fight. So in this case, this is a very different boss Bowser fight we've seen before, because he's like,
we've never seen anything like this.
No, but he like rolls up in style, like in his muscle car. Like,
well, it kind of looks really similar to Wario's car. It's like he jacked it.
Yeah, I guess it's not even a muscle car, but it's some like old, some old style, like Wario style car with like a Bowser hood ornament on it. It actually reminded me of like a vehicle. It had the whole thing has like a face to it too. And it reminded me of like a car from like Roger Rabbit or something.
Yeah. But once again, personality is, this thing has as classic as the clown car is, this has some style to it that makes Bowser seem kind of cool.
It does, yeah. It's a very stylish thing for him to do. And then the whole battle takes place, from him on that car, where he's racing forward and you're following behind him. And throwing soccer balls at you and you kick them into the car and eventually you destroy the car. But yeah, it's something we haven't seen before. I mean, I guess he's had the clown copter before, the clown car. But yeah, this is the first actual car he's driven.
Yeah, this is completely different. The only thing I'm wondering is like, why doesn't he kick that thing in reverse and just run Mario over?
Plot hole.
Yeah. Oh well.
Now I'm hoping, like, I hope that's gonna be a car in Mario Kart, right?
Oh, it has to be. If that thing isn't, that's bullcrap. Yeah,
exactly. And it has to be the same size too. Like, he just has to dominate the entire track.
Yeah, a boss battle car.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I thought that the whole thing was just pretty interesting. Yeah, they're really switching it up, and I wonder if you're gonna be fighting him if he's gonna be in a vehicle for every boss fight. Or,
now, was it challenging at all? I mean, it looked like you had a little bit of trouble there, but it doesn't seem too bad because it's World 1.
Yeah, it was pretty easy. You just run in soccer balls, and since you're already heading forward, they automatically basically just go right into them.
Yeah.
And there are a couple parts where you have to, like, a couple level terrain things where you have to, like, jump a hole or climb up a wall.
Or avoid his fireballs, typical sort of thing.
But no, it was an easy boss, but it was a World 1 boss. Yeah, so I mean, but it does offer, a kind of like a tantalizing hint of what may come up, and it may be that we will see some different boss fights this time, which I'm hoping. Hopefully, it won't be just the exact same thing each time, where it goes a little bit faster. And
well, I am hoping for that because you basically destroyed that thing after this fight.
So yeah, now speaking of so he's a World 1 boss, and we can see on the world map, we even get to see his castle. And so the way the world map works is quite a bit different too. Now, I wasn't actually able to play with the world map. They would take the control from me for that every time, which is a little bit annoying. And so I did get to see a few additional glimpses of it though. So what we've seen from the trailer is that, and from what I saw, from them playing it, it's fully 3D roaming. You can run around that map. And I think that's a really unique idea. We haven't seen that in a Mario game before, and I'm trying to think of any other games that may have done something similar.
Not a map like that. The only other type of thing where you get to roam around the map before choosing a level is sort of like Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy 1.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it's level select like that, it's always in a direct line where you can't really maneuver around.
Yeah, so it's kind of like another crossover, kind of like with the power-ups, you know, how like the levels seem to be more based around them now. It's kind of like, it does seem like they're bringing elements of Galaxy and merging it with, you know, what they introduced with 3D Land. And yeah, this time, yeah, they're kind of combining the world map, where it is similar to the hub worlds from like Mario Galaxy or Mario 64, but you know, it's still you know, a top-down view, and you know, more restrictive, of course. But this it is a very interesting combination of those two, where it looks like they're adding even more exploration type elements into the world map. Because they specifically mentioned there are secrets hidden around there.
Yeah, and you even spotted a couple possible ones.
Exactly, right. Now, I also saw some other structures too, like in World 2. I noticed there was in the desert world, there was a casino, or like a slot machine type level you can go to. So I don't know if that's like a game you can play, or what exactly that is. But they weren't answering any of my questions there.
No surprise, but yeah.
So tying into this whole world, or bringing everything together, of course, is the story. And Nintendo wasn't answering any of my questions there, but we can infer what's happening in the story as it did in the analysis, you know, based on the last trailer. And it looks like, you know, Bowser's up to his old tricks, basically, like kidnapping princesses or whatever. But this time, it's not, you know, it's obviously not Princess Peach, which we knew before, because you can play as her.
Yes.
This time he's kidnapping Sprixies, I think, right?
Yeah, Sprixies. Yeah, I think that's it, Sprixies.
From the Sprixie Kingdom, and you know, as I point out in the analysis, it looks like they're all, you know, they're all wearing crowns. So it looks like they're all royalty of some kind. So maybe they're all, you know, princesses of their own domain.
It could be channeling back to Super Mario Bros. 3, where you weren't rescuing Princess Peach until the very end.
Right.
Of course, you won't be doing that in this game, but it's still you're rescuing somebody different for each world.
So I wonder if they're going to delve a little bit more into his motivation this time around. Because, I mean, I guess even with Princess Peach, it wasn't entirely clear what his end game was.
Yeah, even with Galaxy, I mean, he's making this huge galaxy, and he has Princess Peach there.
Right.
Really, he could make this whole galaxy without even alerting Mario if he did not kidnap Peach.
Yeah, that's true.
But of course, you're going for the whole classic sense of it, because, you know...
Right, it's a princess who's kidnapping the princess. It's like, that's basically all you need. I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but this time it feels a little bit different. Because he's, you know, not kidnapping Peach, so what's he going for? Why is he kidnapping these Sprixie princesses? What's he, you know, maybe, like, I mean, since they are, like, fairy-like creatures, basically, or, you know, pixies, you know, maybe they have magic abilities, maybe he's looking to do something with them.
Yeah, that would be the thought. And it is channeling a lot of some of the different Mario games, where Mario travels to a new place that isn't the Mushroom Kingdom,
right,
and rescues its residents there. I guess it's sort of the case for Mario Bros. 3, because you had all different kings. Mario World, where you're rescuing all the Yoshis on Yoshi's Island, and even this, actually, the one it feels most similar to is Mario Bros. 2, USA, where, you know, you have all these going through the four characters are hanging out together, and then they realize there's something else going on, and they go to this other world.
See, now I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a perfect segue. Because, yeah, in the analysis, they are doing... In the very first analysis I mentioned, there were some Mario 2 references, of course. Like the four main characters being the same, their special abilities being the same. This time we see even more of that. Because in, like, Shadow Play Alley, the doors you go through to go into the shadow sections... look just like the doors from Mario 2. The red doors, the yellow border.
And do you remember what those doors would do in Mario 2? Like when you threw the potion that brought up the door?
Oh!
A world completely
black. You're totally
black.
right. It took you to the shadow, like the shadow version of that world.
Exactly.
Oh, I didn't even make that connection in the analysis. Well, that'll be in part 2. So, analysis part 2 spoilers. Good thinking, Derek.
Yeah, no problem. It honestly just came to me, but yeah, it's just... there's a lot of connections here. Now, of course, the big question, will Wart show up?
Right.
Obviously, he didn't show up for Dream Team, which a lot of people thought, including us, hoped and thought he would.
Because it was based around Dreams, yeah.
Yeah, but nothing there. So, is it possible for him to show up again here? Hard to say. Kind of doubt it, but it'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so long since we've seen him. I would love to see him come back in some capacity. And I just, all the Mario 2 references, which, I mean, in Dream Team, we were more extrapolating them from the fact it was based around dreams.
Exactly.
This time, these are concrete, like, Mario 2 references.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The only thing we haven't seen as far as Mario 2 is Mario 2 enemies. We haven't seen any of the Shy Guys or anything like that.
That is the odd thing, you're right. Yeah, we haven't seen any Mario 2 enemies at all, and the Shy Guys kind of have taken up, like, residence in the Yoshi games more so, as, like, enemies of that game now than they have Mario games.
Yeah, a bit, but I think that I'm trying to think of a Mario game where they did show up. But yeah, you're right.
Well, there were snippets of Mario 64, and then the Mario RPGs are also big on Shy Guys and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't think of...
I wouldn't mind seeing them. I wouldn't mind seeing some of the old bosses from Mario 2 show up. Mauser and Triclide and...
Right.
Some different bosses that are still callbacks to the past.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That would be... I mean, Mario 2 is a game that...
Yeah, it's the, it's the redhead stepchild or whatever.
Even though, like, a ton of things from that game did go on to...
Exactly, because Japan eventually got Super Mario USA, which integrated Mario with all these... Basically, it was the port of the Super Mario Brothers 2 for the US.
Right.
So that's why it's a lot of this stuff is still showing up in Mario games, because that was, even in Japan, part of the Mario canon. Even though they were dreams. But so it would make sense for them to show up.
Yeah. And this is the first time like we've seen like so many things coming returning from that game, just from like a core gameplay perspective.
And even here's another thought: they're able to pick up items again and throw like baseballs and the footballs or whatever.
Yeah, kind of like
before and snowball, like kind of like the vegetables.
Yep.
Who did they have to use that technique against? Birdo.
Birdo would be a good enemy to see back, yeah.
Exactly. So there's these elements that there's gameplay elements being brought back from Mario Brothers 2. Let's see some enemies that utilize this.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that'd be awesome.
I feel like they have to be with, as you mentioned, the sports balls coming back, which
you connected to Charging Shark, which also makes sense. But the fact that Mario is able to pick them up and whatnot, not exactly common for a lot of the 3D games.
That is unusual, and in fact, we're seeing, we had the artwork of the Koopa Troopa, where he's outside of his shell, which wasn't the case in 3D Land. Which does imply
you can only just kick them.
Right, which means, you might be able to pick up the turtle shells this time again, too.
And we haven't seen that since the Galaxy games, and that was you rarely saw the Koopa Troopers themselves. There's a couple of instances, of course, but usually it'd just be the shell lying around. You do a spin and pick them up again.
Right.
This one, it's a lot of, and it was only the Koopa shells. This one, there's a lot of different elements there.
Yep, that is the case. So I guess there's only one other thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to bring up before, and that is, before at E3, it looked like the gamepad is being incorporated kind of in, kind of generic ways. Like, like it didn't seem super essential to the experience, and that's still kind of the case. We already knew you could rub the touchscreen to reveal hidden stuff in the environment. But I did see, when I played the game at Nintendo, I did see one use of it that I didn't even know about, and that is in the Shadow Player level. And I think you see this in the video I recorded. There's a part where you reach a wall filled with tiles, basically, or tile enemies. I can't remember exactly. And you can have the Piranha Plant eat them, and it'll allow you to go through with the area they're blocking. You can also blow on the microphone on on the gamepad, and it'll disperse all those tiles instantly, allowing you to go right into the secret area. So I'm wondering if that's hinting at a deeper integration with the gamepad than what we thought before. Because as I point out in the analysis, there's a Goomba scene, and there's doors opening in the background, and you can see the guy is, you can tell from the hand appearing that the guy is tapping on the touchscreen, causing those doors to open.
Yeah, I think that's about as deep as we're gonna get, as far as just tapping and maybe a couple blowing bits, because I think the big focus is on 4-player. You don't want to put too many elements of the gamepad in there because you don't want to lose it for the other players.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, at least one player will be guaranteed to have the gamepad, so it could be that they have a little bit more of an involved role than before. Although, it would be weird if they have a leg up, maybe, because the game is kind of competitive too, in that you're trying to get the most coins, and And you even get a crown if you have a bunch of coins, you know. And you can steal that crown from the other players if they have it too.
Yeah.
So and I think you see that in my video too. Like,
yeah, he stole your crown.
Yeah, that bastard. Couldn't believe he would do that.
I know. It's not like you killed him once.
Yeah, it's not like it's, you know, just murdered my teammate just to see what would happen. All right, well, so do you have any final thoughts, Derek? Like your final impressions on everything we've seen so far?
I really think this is going to be something special. It did not seem to be special at first. I thought it was going to be just like an expanded 3D land, and it might be still that in some regards, but I think it's a bit more than that, because as again you pointed out in the analysis, there's some bigger areas there that might be a little bit more involved based on your little based on your gameplay. The levels seem a lot longer than 3D land, which is nice. And then, of course, there's a lot of mystery behind this game still, as far as plot and whatnot. And, of course, the big one that you saw at the end of your analysis, which the return of the Comet Observatory.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we didn't even talk about that. Right.
I was waiting for this. Yeah.
Good call.
But yeah, the return of the Comet Observatory, which is huge.
That is huge.
Because we haven't really seen Rosalina outside of a couple Mario Kart appearances since Galaxy 2, and she's a big fan favorite.
She is.
So even just the slightest hint of her coming back, and maybe, you know, they did Throwback Galaxy in Mario Galaxy 2. Maybe we're gonna have some Mario 3D, Mario Galaxy levels pop up in 3D
That
world.
would be awesome. I would be totally on board with that.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of possibilities with Rosalina's return, especially with the Comet Observatory, which only made one appearance, you know, the original.
Yeah, the original Mario Galaxy. So, yeah, I do wonder how... Yeah, I mean, it really just makes... How are they going to tie all this together? You got the Mario 2 references, which could hint at something deeper. Mm-hmm. You've got, you know, the initial story setup we see with Bowser kidnapping the Sprixies. And then now we know, you know, that Mario Galaxy, or that, you know, the Comet Observatory is involved on some level. I mean, now some people mentioned, it could just be an Easter egg. I don't think it's just an Easter egg. Like that.
Mario does not do just Easter eggs for something like that. If it's in game, like a poster or something like that, or maybe you can see in the background of a level, that's an Easter egg. But if you put it on the poster, that is meant to be seen. That is a hint.
that is absolutely a hint. So I'm just like, I don't even know how they're gonna fit that in there. Like, I mean, I guess we did see, in the opening cutscene, there's a meteor shower. Meteor showers happening in the background. There's like a big celebration, which is similar to the Mario Galaxy setups. So, yeah. I do wonder that it all ties together somehow. But yeah, I have no idea what they're going to do here. Yeah, so when...
It's kind of exciting because the first time you don't know where a story in Mario World is going. It could be in a Mario game is going. I mean, of course it could be standard, rescue this thing, rescue this thing, rescue this thing, rescue this thing. But with the reappearance of Rosalina, she brings story with her.
Yeah, no, it does hit at there being a little bit more here. Now, they could pull like a Mario Galaxy 2 where... Oh, I'm trying to remember, because she was barely in that game.
Yeah, she just sort of popped up in there. She had a much bigger role within the original Galaxy.
Right, so I wonder if they're going to tack on some stuff here, but it seems unlikely. In Mario Galaxy 2, they had to. This game is already its own lineage of games, or it has a game previous to this that had basically no connection to Galaxy. So it is so it is intriguing what they're doing here. I'm just super excited to find out more, and it won't be long until we find out more because it comes out on next month. So
yeah, it's nuts.
It is. All right, well, I think that covers it for our discussion on Super Mario 3D World. So thanks for joining us, Derek, and thanks to all of you for watching. Make sure to keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on this game and other things gaming as well. We'll have a lot more coming up. And make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter if you don't already. There are links in the description below, and we post all kinds of things there, so keep an eye on those. Alright guys, thanks again for watching, and bye.